Welcome to the screen capture of our report of the first year in the life of the Opal project. My name is Pilar Grey Carlos, Coordinator of Spanish in the institution-wide language program.
And my name is Enza Siciliano Verruccio, and I am the Departmental Language Coordinator in the Department of Modern Languages and European Studies.
Opal stands for Open Access to Languages, a project aimed at helping students to learn how to learn languages. Why did we think of Opal? The project is a response to the sharp decline in modern foreign languages uptake at GCSE and A-level within secondary education sector. Since 2004, when languages were made not compulsory for GCSE level, the number of students opting to study a language at GCSE has gone from 73% down to 41% in 2011. The introduction of the new English baccalaureate has started to reverse the trend, but only with a modest increase in the numbers.
As a consequence, we see a number of students leaving secondary school with no or very limited experience in learning languages. This has had a definite impact at higher education level, opening up two questions for us. The first one being, what type of provision could we offer prospective students with this profile in order to attract them towards language learning and language study at university level, be it through a degree in modern languages or a module in the IWP? The second question is, what can higher education institutions do to help significantly reverse this trend in modern foreign language uptake at GCSE and A-level?
Rather than focusing on learning any specific language, Opal's aim is to stimulate the growth of confidence in language learning in general. By providing students with the necessary competencies and strategies, we intend to break down barriers and tackle the fear that surrounds language learning. But ultimately, we intend to promote a positive attitude towards foreign language study. Who are our stakeholders?
Most immediately within the University of Reading, students and staff in the institution-wide language program, where we have around 800 students, and the Department of Modern Languages and European Studies, where there are approximately 300 students.
The next interlocutor is Roots into Languages, a HEFKI-funded program which has been active in promoting language learning in secondary schools, and most recently also in the area of higher education.
Our targets are also modern foreign languages pupils and teaching staff at secondary and primary level, most relevant now because of the introduction of languages at primary education. We also aim to make the project deliverables accessible to students and colleagues at other universities in the UK.
The funding for the project has come initially from Roots into Languages £5,000 and then from the University of Reading Teaching and Learning Development Fund another £5,000, to which we added the contribution from the Partnership in Learning and Teaching scheme, also within the University of Reading, and further funding was then granted by the International Study and Language Institute.
In this first year, we have explored also possible funding from the Open University and from our consortium of universities in England that is producing a bid for the HEFKI Catalyst Fund. What are the deliverables of the project and how did we go about achieving them this first year?
We wanted to create material which would be open, interactive and online. In our original plan, we considered the possibility of producing the material as a MOOC.
We had conversations and discussions with Professor Shirley Williams, the University of Reading MOOC lead, with Luke McAuliffe, the University of Reading MOOC developer, and with Maria Papefimiu, who has also been our project mentor.
We also consulted with Anna Comas-Quinn, Associate Head of Department of Languages at the Open University, and Kate Worthwick, e-learning specialist from the former Subject Centre for Languages, Linguistics and Area Studies.
After exploring all options, we decided that MOOCs did not allow the interaction and flexibility we were after. Therefore, we opted for making the open materials available as Open Educational Resources, OERs.
The material in Opal will be structured in two main sections. A. Grammar awareness and B. Language learning strategies.
Each section will include 3 modules. Section A, Grammar Awareness, will contain one module focusing on grammar and grammaring, that is, the production of grammar, a second one devoted to parts of speech, and a third one on how languages function. The Language Learning Strategies first module will explore the use of online dictionaries. A further module will explain how to use online translation tools, and the final one will be on how to learn vocabulary. The work carried out so far on the Opal project has evolved through 4 different phases, each representing the development of the preceding one, but also with some overlap, especially between the first 3 phases and the 4th one. Phase 1 and 2 were developed within the University of Reading, whereas Phase 3 and 4 represent the outward-facing aspect of the project. The initial phase actually stretches back almost 9 years, when the language skills course was first introduced for beginner students of Italian enrolled on a degree program in or involving Italian studies. Italian studies at Reading is one in a handful of higher education institutions in England that has opened up their degree program to ab initio students in the most extreme fashion, that is to say, not just to beginners who at least have a GCSE or A-level in another foreign language, as it is customary for modern foreign language departments in this country, but also to students who may never have studied a language before, the absolute ab initio student. The language skills course was designed to cater for all beginners in the first 2 years of their degree, but especially for the absolute ones, in order to provide them with the necessary grammatical competencies and language learning skills to embark on the study of the language at degree level. This typology of student is also very common amongst the students who approach language learning for the first time when they enter university, whatever their degree, through the institution-wide language program. By the time Pilar and I had conceived our first plan for Opal, language skills had developed into a tried and tested course, and together with the experience accrued within the IWP context, it naturally provided us with the core ideas that informed our initial concept for the project. Phase 2 saw us involved in the first development of the Opal material. We decided to explore 2 different routes, one within the MLES and the other within the IWP, which would also be immediately compatible with the nature of the 2 different programs. At the core of both was the idea of engaging our language students in a collaborative process that would allow them to learn by teaching. Within the MLES, the structure of the language skills course lent itself to the introduction of a collaborative element in the delivery of the course syllabus and also in the design of its assessment. Students were asked to develop language guides for their peers that would cover parts or all of the course content, but also provide them with opportunities for practice, such as exercises and short tests, that would then form the template for the course final assessment. The brief for all students who were working in groups was to produce a video with whatever tools and equipment they could get hold of, including their mobile phones. This is a sample of what some of the language skills students came up with when asked to explain grammatical concepts like the passive voice, transitive and intransitive verbs, coordination and subordination, or explain why, in a language like Italian, you cannot say literally that you are given a book.
Within the IWLP, a group of Spanish Level 5 and 6 students was selected, and again they were asked to produce short videos to guide their fellow language students in the use of online dictionaries and translation tools. In this case, though, students were given access to an online software, Sparkle, set up for the production of video scripts. Rather than being credited, the IWP students' work was funded by the PLANT scheme.
In order for us to work on the Opal deliverables, most of the project funds were used to buy out time for me and Pilar to develop, refine, and sometimes redefine our original plans and ideas. The process basically implied measuring up the project as it was initially conceived against the need for technical expertise that clearly went beyond our knowledge and capabilities. It turned out to be a fine balancing act between investing, on one hand, more of our own time in developing our own expertise, which was anyway necessary in order for us to be able to make informed decisions as to which directions the project should take, and, on the other hand, investing the rest of the project funds as wisely as possible in order to obtain the necessary technical support for us to deliver what we had set out to achieve. It was not always an easy task, and keeping up the motivation and enthusiasm was at times a struggle. We knocked at quite a few doors, and we were lucky to find University of Reading colleagues happy to give us, and very generously, some of their personal time to answer our questions and point us in the right direction. Alison Fabian from Digital Development assessed our plans and material, was impressed with them, but confirmed that to fully develop them we may need to look for support outside of the university. Chris Bacon from Film, Theatre and Television offered invaluable advice and pointers when it came to video recording and production. And Andrew Felinski from the ISLI IT Services told us all we know now about the different options for our material to be accessible online. Oops, that is not exactly the online we were talking about, but you get the idea. With our much increased wealth of knowledge and with the remaining funds available, we therefore set about recruiting the technical support we needed in the shape of students and former interns who displayed both experience and interest in film production. This is how Francesca Piga, Simon Hislop and Elliot Riemann came on board the Opal project. At the same time, and we are moving on to the third phase of the project now, we revised our immediate goals, and with the continued help of Maria Papestimiou, more realistically we decided to concentrate our efforts on quality, restricted the focus onto 2 modules of our programme, and redefined our product for the first year of the project as proof of concept. This, which was the second stage of the Opal material development, saw us and our technical support team engaged in the production of videos that, in mixing up video with animation and video scribing, were inspired in approach and format by the work delivered by the MLS and RWP students. And that is how, in order to explain how grammar works and what its role is in language learning, I, Enza, ended up in a student's brain.
The fourth and last phase of the project, the dissemination, actually started when the project was still in its planning stages. Opal was first introduced outside of the University of Reading at the Society for Italian Studies Biennial Conference at Durham University in July 2013. In September 2013, Opal was presented at the OERs in Modern Languages Conference at Bristol, where it attracted the attention of the Open University. More recently, primary and secondary schools, members of the Wheatley Excellence Cluster in Reading, have expressed an interest in piloting the Opal material, and the video material produced so far has featured prominently at a regional Modern Foreign Language Teach Meet event. In June 2014, the IWP students' experience in producing video scripts for Opal was shared at the planned showcase event here at the University of Reading. On the 8th and 9th of July, all Opal materials were presented in the current shape to great acclaim at the LLAS Biennial Conference called Reshaping Languages in Higher Education. Finally, the evolution of and the reflections on the project have been recorded in our blog, and all the video material produced so far has been uploaded on the Opal Material YouTube channel.
In order to assess the first 2 phases of the project, a questionnaire was devised and distributed to the MLS students who had contributed to the production of videos for the language skills course. We were particularly interested in collecting students' perception of how their collaboration to the production through the video guides of the course content and to its delivery had affected their understanding of the content itself. Students' responses seem to indicate that, in a scale from 0 to 9, they would rate being taught by peers fairly positively, with the highest number of responses being positioned between 5 and 7. They appear to be more convinced by the positive effects of having actively contributed to the delivery of the course content on their overall understanding. Going back to the original aim that inspired the Opal project, that is to stimulate confidence in learning a new language, the language skills students seem to confirm that this was the case for the majority of them, with a third of them reporting what they perceived to be a true surge in their confidence levels. On the first day of the language skills course, students are given a post-it note onto which to write down 3 words that best describe their feelings towards grammar. Over the years, we have collected all sorts of responses, including "I hate it" and "please help me." Invariably, year after year, students' responses hover between an objective acknowledgement of grammar's necessity and a more subjective assessment of its impenetrability. In the questionnaire this year, the language skills students were asked to define again their feelings towards grammar at the end of the course, after the Opal treatment. This time we have seen the emergence of 2 words above all. The objective necessity has left the place to a more subjective useful, which points towards a personal experience and appreciation of the many uses of grammar, and an astounding and rather unexpected reversal of difficult into fun. Opal is very much a video-based project, so we have also opted to record on video the responses of some of the students on the second year of the language skills course. Now that the first year with Opal has come to a close, these are our plans and continuation strategy.
First, in our list of plans for the immediate future, together with the completion of the online material, mostly in the form of animations, is the development of the interactive element of the project. To this end, we have already scrutinized a number of authoring tools, and we have identified Easy Generator, an e-learning authoring application, as the most suitable one to meet our needs for a comprehensive but non-linear progression through the Opal materials. Another tall order is to develop a platform for the Opal materials to sit in. Our final aim is the creation of a devoted website with an option to make the material available through mobile devices. All Opal material is being created under the imperative that it should be platform agnostic, so as to allow us to keep all doors open.
We also intend to continue disseminating and start piloting the material both inside and outside the university. The language skills course, which is being extended now to other languages in MLS, will offer plenty of opportunities for the embedding and a first full evaluation of Opal. Outside of the university, an MFL Teach Meet event that is being organised here at Reading for the autumn of 2014 will allow to add more schools willing to pilot our online materials to the list we already have. We are also planning to host a sequel to the OERs in Modern Languages conference, to which we intend to attach a workshop for further dissemination of the material at higher education level and beyond. For Opal to grow, we obviously need funds. In the first year of the project, considerable time and effort has already been put into collaborating with a consortium of other institutions in drafting a bid for the HEFCE Catalyst Fund. Also, Opal has been included in the Open University bid to the HEFCE Catalyst Fund as a candidate for financial support in the piloting stage. Questions have been raised on the continuity of the Roots funds because of the Programme Central guidelines, which impose to discontinue support for the creation of all teaching material. We will attempt to explore any other ways in which Roots can continue to fund aspects of Opal, and also we shall pursue any further opportunities within the University of Reading Teaching and Learning Development Fund. At local level, our school and departments have provisionally granted us further support the details of which are currently being discussed.
These, to sum up, are the lessons that we have learned from our first year with Opal. But they are not just conclusions. We feel they are a starting point for further reflection and discussion. The first one is that big ideas need time for the ideas to be conceived, developed and grow. When time for research and innovation in teaching and learning is not embedded in staff workload and funds are limited, how can it be ensured that ideas that have a solid basis and attract interest across the entire education sector can be encouraged and fostered for the advancement of the learners, the practitioners and the institution concerned?
An institution can provide support as time, but also in the shape of technical expertise. If selected innovative projects are to be encouraged, how can they be granted free and easy access to the relevant facilities across the university and to the appropriate level of IT, digital and instructional design support?
We welcome initiatives at institutional level like the GRASS project that support the growth of a community of teaching and learning innovators within our institution. It is important to us that the expertise that is often accrued in isolated conditions or through projects like Opal is made fully visible, acknowledged and shared through the appropriate channels.
Lastly, the university has very successfully embarked in the production of MOOCs. Is there any room for a central programme for OERs, Open Educational Resources, that may be produced with the same kind of support and guidance and to the same high standards as the MOOCs? This was our first year with Opal. Thank you for watching and listening.